you so we can introduce the 2D arrays before you get into it this week. So a 2D array is simply made up of rows and columns. Each element has the same data type and is identified by a unique combination of two scripts, a row subscript and a column subscript. It's very similar to a spreadsheet because spreadsheets are made up of rows going across this way, and columns going up and down. So in a 2D array, the first part of the array will control the rows, and the second part of the array controls the columns. So when you go and declare a two-dimensional array, you have to include the data type, like always. Oops, let me go back. You have to include the data type, like always, the name of the array, and then in the first set of square brackets, you're going to put the number of rows. In the second set of square brackets, you put the number of columns. So here's the example. This array is going to have 2 rows and 3 columns, and it's going to carry integers. All right, so now when we declare your array, it's very important that you initialize it. If you don't initialize it, sometimes it gets wonky. There's a bunch of different ways of doing that. So we're going to take that array I initialized, array 1, with the 2 rows and the 2 columns. One way of doing it is this way, where you're saying, okay, I'm initializing all the elements in the array to be 0. Here, I'm doing all the elements in the array going to be 0 too, but I'm doing it this way. My favorite way of doing it is saying that I know that this part right here, this first set of data, let's see if I can do something else. Yeah. The first set of data is going to be the first row. The second set of data is going to be the second row. So initializing all the values in the first row as 0 and initializing all the values in the second row as 0. I think that's the easiest way of doing it. It causes less confusion when you do that. So now I want to show you how to do a program with it on Rappel. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same array and I'm going to initialize, it array 1, and I'm going to have 2 rows and 3 columns, as you can see here. I'm going to initialize it like I said to before, my favorite way of doing it. And for my purposes, for you guys, so you can see, I'm going to initialize this at 1, 2, 3. So your first row are going to have the values of 1, 2, and 3. Your second row is going to have the values of 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and like always, you have to put a semicolon at the end, right? So now that's how you initialize the array in your program. Now, if I wanted to display it, I would have to use 2 loops, a nested loop. I like for loops, so I'm going to do that. So now I have the nested for loop. I'm going to do int x equals 0. This first for loop is going to control your rows. This is going to control how many rows you have of your data. So and then I'm going to add to it. And then we're going to do nested. So I'm going to do that. And then inside here, I'm going to do another for loop. But this time I'm going to initialize out and we're out the array 1. And then we're going to do X first and then Y. And then I want to just add a space in between so we can see the numbers. So I'm going to go like this. And then I'm going to set that. And to get to the next line inside the outer loop, I'm going to do a cout statement and just do next line. You can do it however you wish, but now that. So now when I run this, hopefully I'm not missing anything. Oh, nope, I put it in the wrong spot. This should go here. So let me bring that in there. I knew I put that in the wrong spot, So now this should go there. So now let's see how this works when we run it. All right, so now when I run it, it's going to list hopefully it'll say 1, 2, 3, and then on the next line, it'll say 4, 5, 6. So let's see if that does that. It's still running. Let me try again. I'm stopping it. My internet is being very slow today, so I'm going to try that again. Let me pause this. What I'm doing. I'm creating a video. Oh, wait, there it is. Let me come down here and pause my record. All right, so let's run this again and see what happens because my internet's being slow today. So again, this right here, that right there is the number of rows. This right here is the number of columns. So this should say 1, 2, 3. And then the second row should say 4, 5, 6. So hopefully that it will do that once it runs, and it didn't do anything. Let's try it again. Let's try this one more time. I'm not sure why it didn't do anything. I'm checking my program to make sure I have the same information, plus plus, y equals, and I don't know why it's not doing. C at 1, x. Oh, I see what I did. Silly mistake. Same mistake you guys make sometimes. That should have been a 0. All right, let's try this again. My bad. See, I make mistakes when I'm doing this. I'm not perfect. So now it should work the way I want it to work. Let's pause and wait and find out. Let's see. I don't know why it's taking so long. Let's finish erasing this while we're waiting. Again, I told you my internet is very slow. There we go. See? All right, so now let's make a green. Right here would be your row 1, 2, 3, just like I said there. See? Bam, 1, 2, 3. And then here is your 4, 5, 6, which is your second row, which is 4, 5, 6. So it's pretty simple to do. You just have to make sure you're paying attention to the loops and stuff. So hopefully you'll be able to pick that up. I'll add some more videos inside. Maybe not of me, but maybe of somebody else, but we'll see. All right. Happy coding.